What's up, guys and gals? My name is Splattercat, and we're here at the Nerd Castle today. I know, you're probably expecting Faster Than Friday. Well, I think I'm gonna shelf that one just because I'm bored with it. I'm gonna be super honest with you guys. Just like you guys get bored with games, I get bored with games. But on the plus side, I've been thinking that I've wanted to start like a new series, so we're still gonna do something special every Friday, and it's gonna be called the Weekly Indie Newcomer, W.I.N for short, and it's gonna showcase a game that's coming out next week that I really think in the indie genre deserves a little bit of attention, and this week's winner is Paper Sorcerer. Paper Sorcerer is a game that's been in development for quite some time, and I've been keeping an eye on it. And it's much like Eye of the Beholder meets Warriors of the Red Sun meets basically any old 90s, 80s fantasy Dungeons & Dragons dungeon crawler type game that you've ever seen before, but it also combines the combat system with a little bit of almost like a JRPG Final Fantasy Phantasy Star type combat. And I think the game is very well designed, everything is hand-drawn, it looks gorgeous as though you're reading it out of a book, and I think it deserves recognition. So it comes out on December 1st, next week, and you can check it out on Desura. I'm not positive on the cost associated with the title. I'll put it down below in the description. So without further ado, let's get started. There are a number of difficulties that we can play through, ranging from easy to 1980s mode, where wild Duran Durans they roam their way through the dungeons, hoping to destroy you with their ridiculous rock and roll. We're gonna go with normal here. Alright, so as you can tell, the game's presentation is fantastic. This is one of those games that when it showed up in my inbox, I was very excited to test it out. It says, you awaken with a start, reflexively trying to cast a spell that dies in your throat when you see your surroundings. The last thing you remember was fighting 4 of the king's lapdogs. Banin the warrior, Raisurchi the ranger, Akimi the mage, and Yaron the priest. They had a book that glowed with a fearsome light. You aren't the type to be easily scared, but as you looked into that light, you felt truly terrified like you never have before. But you have all your arms, legs, fingers, and senses intact, so things could always be worse. In checking to make sure you're intact, you confirm that you're a male or a female. I'm gonna go with a male character. We've been doing a lot of female characters lately. And the first thing you figure you should do is find out who you are. And it gives us a little bit of a tutorial, but we'll do this right here. And now we're in the game, and obviously it's a little bit dark, but that's because we haven't opened the door yet. Alright, so let's search around, and it says, even though you've been conscious for a short amount of time, you feel extremely tired. Do you want to rest for a bit? Sure, let's rest. It doesn't take long before you feel yourself slipping into a deep sleep. Right before you begin to slumber, however, you have the distinct impression you're being watched. You have a dream where you're talking with some friends you had when you were younger, but the room you're talking in is unfamiliar, with plain stone walls and a table with several bags on it. When you open the bag in the center, a snake jumps out and slithers out of the room. When you awaken, there's a mouse sitting on the end of your bed staring at you. You're an interesting one. A sorcerer. That's some dark magic. Binding souls and calling them when needed. That can be a dangerous ability. Dangerous, but useful. What do you want? I've been waiting for someone like you. I'd like to escape, and I think you can help me. Right now, you've been sealed inside a prison of sorts. The king has been trapping threats to the kingdom here for decades. I think I know a way to escape, but I can't do it alone, and a sorcerer like you is just what I need. If you'd be willing to help me, I'd be willing to ensure that we both get out. Alright, I'll help you, little mousy friend. Excellent. The first thing you need to do is get out of this cell block. Suddenly, a burst of intense magical energy fills the room. The oppressive force that was draining your magic is gone, as is the mouse. You hear a whispery voice in your mind. I'll find you soon again. So here we are. We can continue to search the room, but I don't think there's anything in here. And so as you can tell, everything feels as though we're on the page of a book, and I like that very much. That's a cool effect that I think really sells the mystique of the game. You can feel some of your power returning. You may summon one of your former thralls to aid in your escape. So this is the first part of the game. He tell you to choose wisely, and for the rest of the game, these are the guys that you're going to be controlling. Now, some would say that this UI is a little minimalist, but I think it fits for the nostalgia that they're trying to conjure. This game reminds me very, very much of games from the 1980s, the 1990s, those RPGs back in the day where they didn't really have the processing power to put ridiculous UIs in the game, and so they always went with something very, very simple like this. We have a lot of choices, everything from werewolves, who are fast, unarmed attackers, down to shadows, which are unpredictable but have powerful magical attacks. The game does follow kind of a tank, healer, DPSer, CC'er type MMO vibe, which I like very much, and I think I'm going to go with the cultist, who's a defensive healer. There he is right there. Everybody's got their own unique portrait. I do wish there was a male and a female version of each one, but maybe they'll add that in the future. This is an indie title, so obviously there are going to be some constraints during the development process. The cultist, an evil cleric sworn to aid you in your cause. He keeps the party alive through his healing and defensive wards. Thanks to decent armor and assortment of buffs, the cultist is the most defensive of the available healers, but still not without a few damaging skills. He's a solid defensive character who would be useful in any party composition. His example skills are Divine Power, which raises all of our strength, and Defensive Strike, which attack the enemy and restore our defensive stat. He can equip maces, light and medium armor, a shield, and one accessory. Do we want to take him? Hell yeah, let's take him. It's good to remember, we are the bad guy in this, so we're trying to escape from the good guy's dungeon. As soon as you pass through the doorway, you see a single guard barreling down the hallway towards you. Hey, you! How'd you get out of your cell? What do? Hail him! In the nicest tone possible, you call out to him. Well, the door just kind of opened by itself. In response, the guard brandishes his mace and continues his charge. You can tell by the look on his face he's the kind of man who's got something to prove. Combat is turn-based, so select the option you want with the mouse, so we'll actually go through this. Skip that right there, you don't need to know all that. I'll explain it as we go through. So this is the battle interface, and it reminds me of maybe like Breath of Fire, or mostly it reminds me of like Phantasy Star 4. You type in all the abilities that you want, and then based on who's fastest in combat, they're executed. So right now, we are the Sorcerer, and there's the Cultist. He's obviously got a lot more HP than us. This stat right here, Defense, when you get hit, it subtracts that 2 from the damage that's dealt, and you lose defense based on the weapon that's been hitting you. So this will actually diminish over time until your armor is completely broken, although it's not literally broken. Your defensive stat just makes it worthless for the remainder of the fight, or you can use skills which regenerate your defense and help you recover. For our Cultist, he's got a couple skills to look at. He's got Heal, which restores HP. We've got Quick Heal, which is essentially a flash heal. It's fast, but it doesn't heal for quite as much, but it's also cheaper. Divine Power, which increases our strength by 1 in our melee attacks. And Focus, which increases our magic stat and regenerates energy if we don't have enough to cast a spell. I'm going to go back and he's just actually going to auto-attack. We're going to tell him to attack the guard. The Sorcerer, we're going to look at our skills here, and the Sorcerer has Black Bolt, a beam of arcane energy. Let's test that bad boy out and see how it goes. And we're going to target the guard with that. So right there, you'll see our Cultist. He's fully animated, jumps in, takes a swing for 1 damage and -1 defense. There's our hand right there, firing a beam of magical energy for -9, and we've disintegrated him. We've left him in a blob of bluey goodness. We got 5 gems, you get 3 wooden coins, and 125 XP. And so now that we're free of the tresses of that whole thing, let's have a look around down this hallway. And how I really want these weekly indie newcomers to function is it's essentially like an in-depth review of a game that I really like, and so I think in a certain respect, doing a review of a game that you've already proved is really cool is a little biased, but at the same time, this is really a showcase too. I want you to see this game, I want people to know about this game, and I want people to support this game. So each week I'm going to try and do a game that I really feel deserves your purchase. Let's go and check this door. The door is sealed and won't open. From the other side, you hear the sounds of snoring. Maybe these ones? These are all barred. The door is sealed and won't open. You hear some kind of strange barking sound from the other side. Whatever is on the other side of this door, you're reasonably sure is not human. Okay, well, these are all barred, so I'm going to assume that they're all closed and you can't get into any of them. This one is not, and it slides open easily. Let's look around this room. I will say that for some people, maybe the start colors I don't know if the game has like a colorblind mode or if that would matter. I'm assuming, I don't know how being colorblind works, but if you're watching the video and you're colorblind, maybe you can tell me. I think the stark difference between the colors may hurt some people's eyes, but it doesn't bother me, so I don't feel like there's any problem there. Let's have a look in this chest. Inside the chest is a veritable armory. However, the quality is dubious at best, and you get the impression they were either being sent for repairs or to be scrapped. You find a worthless iron staff, a shameful iron axe. That's an iron axe that recently peed on the rug. A worn iron dagger, and a junky longsword. It's a longsword with a heroin problem. A dented iron mace, a shoddy greatsword, a rusty iron chain, a makeshift warhammer, a poorly made guitar, and an assortment of old rags to drape yourself in. You should make sure to equip your characters with this basic gear. Use M or the escape button. Okay, so let's go to the menu and do just that. So pressing M, this is the menu. You get a little portrait of everybody that's in your group. I'm going to go to the equipment menu here. We're going to go with ourselves first. And I'm going to equip myself with, oh, I don't know, the junky longsword. Hopefully we don't get any ideas from him. Our armor, we're going to put the rags, which give us +3 to our defensive stat in combat. So now we've got 5 defense to subtract from when we get hit. And let's go to the cultist now. And it looks as though, oh, I actually sped through that, but we're going to unequip that. He can only use maces, so it's 1 to 7 damage. His armor is going to be rags, just like for us. And then we'll go back. So now that we're reasonably equipped, we're wearing rags. I mean, we're still more or less nude. Our jimmies might be hanging out. But it's all right. I don't think there's anybody around here that really cares that we're running around nude. There's this little treasure box right here. It's locked. There are a bunch of options we can take right here. Let's examine it. Decent craftsmanship, but the lock looks a little plain. Can we use anything on it? No, we don't have anything that would work here. I didn't know if I could pry it open with a dagger or something. We'll leave it alone for now. We have an option to go dexterally or sinisterly, that is right or left. I think we'll go right. This room's looking pretty empty, but we'll swing through the edges. Sometimes that little search bar pops in, but no such luck. Ooh, it looks like we found like a little room here. Let's search the bed. You notice that this bed is particularly tiny. Let's examine it. The bed itself has been made so tightly that you could bounce a button off of it. Underneath, you find a small dusty box. Inside is a small wooden idol carved to resemble a rotund female goblin. Do you take the idol? Hell yeah, why not? A little idolatry never hurt anybody. You never know when this might come in handy. Let's open the bed sheets. With great trepidation, you pull the covers back to reveal nothing except for a smell that reminds you of freshly cut grass. It's quite pleasant. Suppose we'll leave it alone then, now that we've rifled through it. You decide you've had enough of diminutive furniture for one day. Let's check this bag. You found 1 plain key. Good, we can finally get into Cessna to get out of here. We'll also search this crate right here. Inside the cabinet is a book titled, The Peaceful Path Learning to Put Banditry Behind You. Do you want to take it? Sure. You decide to steal the book about learning not to steal. Well, also, it looks like we can search these. There's a broom and a mop. I don't think those are going to be very useful, but let's have a look at our inventory. And maybe there's something we can put to use here. Got the book. Can we do anything with it? No, we can keep it with us and drop it later. Maybe we can give that to somebody later on. I don't know. We've got a bunch of treasure, though. I do like the presentation. I've got the little kind of pixelated treasure chest. It's definitely bringing back fond memories of sitting around on a Commodore 64 or anything of that nature. At least for me, if you're old guy central like I am. Let's go over here and we'll run through this door. Actually, no, we got that key. Let's see if it'll open up this chest. Let's use the item plane key. There we are. So it doesn't go to a plane at all. It goes to a chest. And I know, it's a joke. It's a joke. Let it go. And it says you unlock the chest with the plane key. The click sound it makes is quite satisfying. What have we got? 4 restoration crystals. Restoration crystals are very important items, and hard 1980s difficulty, aside from a few high-level skills, they are the only way to revive dead characters. They restore HP as well as resurrect the dead, so you should always make sure to have a few on hand. Cool. Well, let's go through our leftmost door and see what's out here. A pair of guards are standing around murmuring. As soon as you enter, they turn to face you. The shocked look on their faces is so absolutely priceless. However, they regain their composure and rush in to attack. Other than HP and energy, there's one other thing you need to keep track of in combat. Oh, defense. I already explained that. So now it's 2 guards with rather bulbous-looking maces who are trying to bludgeon us. Let's start the combat off the same way that we did before, with a general attack to guard A. And actually, I think I'm going to fire a black bolt at guard B. So we lost 3 defense and took 3 damage. 3 defense and 6 damage there, so our defense is absolutely depleted. 3 damage and 3 defense gone. Beam of Arcane Energy is out. Hopefully it one-shots him. We can hope. But it doesn't look like we got so lucky. Let's auto-attack with our Cultist. And then we'll also auto-attack with our Sorcerer, since we don't really have a whole lot of other abilities. We're almost out of energy, so we can't really be Black Bolting like crazy. Bit more damage done. And he's been vanquished, so he's now down after that onslaught of damage. And this turn I'm going to have him use his heal to heal up our Sorcerer, because I get the feeling that if our Sorcerer dies, something terrible happens. Sorcerer's going to continue auto-attacking, just dealing damage to that guy. He's been softened up by the Black Bolt, so it should be nice and easy. And there it is, so 2 more down. We found 2 basic tough runes of plus 5 HP, 10 gems, and 250 XP. Nobody leveled up, alas, but we actually... Did that heal go off? Let me check my character sheet here. It did. Okay, good. Would you like to go to the next level? Sure. You can feel some of your power returning, and you may summon 1 more of your former thralls to aid in your escape. Choose wisely, they'll function as your party for the rest of your adventures. Well, this time, we've got a defensive paladin type character. We've got ourselves. I think I'm gonna go with the Minotaur. I like Minotaurs. Minotaur, a savage berserker, uses brute force to cause severe damage to the enemy ranks. The Minotaur is among the most damaging characters available thanks to powerful axes and the fastest strength rune growth in the game. Additionally, while he can only wear light armor, he boasts some of the highest HP growth as well. Wild Swing, melee damage to all enemies. Rending Strike, severe damage to the enemy's defense. Let's take him. I like Minotaurs. I absolutely love Minotaurs, which is sort of a function of me reading reading old fantasy novels back in the day. You come across a hunched-over goblin sweeping the hallway. As you approach, he turns around and his eyes slowly widen until they're the size of saucers. He looks around to make sure no one is there and quickly hobbles up to you. What are you doing here? How'd you get out of your cell? A very strange mouse helped me. He squints at you. A mouse? He thinks for a moment before suddenly letting out a gasp. The spirit of the book. The who of the what? After a furtive glance over his shoulder, he leans in closer. Right now you're in a magical artifact of great power, the Librum Claustrum. A book that isn't really a book at all, more like its extra-dimensional space. It's used by heroes under the orders of the king to imprison evil and maintain peace in the realm. Evil such as you and I. When something or someone is put here, they're supposed to go into a deep sleep for all eternity, dreaming the dreams of madmen. But, as we know, that isn't always the case. Sometimes the spells designed to sap our power don't work. Other times, the spirit of the book has been known to interfere. Either way, the result is usually the same. An inmate escapes and the guards hunt them down. They relish the excitement. What do you ask? Is there anything I can do to avoid guards? You're lucky you met me, and it so happens that I know. He sees the wooden idol you're carrying. Hey, that's mine! How did you get that? I found it when I was sorry, I didn't know it belonged to anyone. You can have it back. He snatches the idol out of your hand while grumbling something in Goblin. How impolite. As I was saying, there is a safe place. He turns around abruptly at the sound of 2 men talking in a room down the hall. There isn't much time. He hands you a red feather. There is a safe place where others like you are hiding. If you continue through the cell block, you will eventually come across a dark pit. Jump into it. This feather will ensure you wind up at the sanctuary. Good luck. Oh yeah, and watch out for the knight. He's in charge of this block. Before you can ask any more questions, he turns around and hurries down the stairs behind you. While you're exploring, the enemies... Oh, okay, so enemies will be these big farty clouds. So there's one right there. You see that kind of miasma? If we walk into that, we'll have to fight. But there's lots of treasure in that room, so fight we shall. Looks like we've got a guy with a big old sword. And another guy with a bludgeon and a helmet. Let's have our cultist. He's gonna buff our strength since we've got the Minotaur. Our sorcerer will, as always, use his Black Bolt on... This guy looks kind of scary over here, so we're going to shoot him first. Our Minotaur, let's look at his skills. He's got Brutal Strike, which deals extra damage. And he's also got Bull Rush, which is based on our Strength modifier. So I'm going to do the extra damage first to the Squire. And next turn, once he gets the Strength buff, we're going to have him do the other one, which deals damage based on your Strength modifier. 0 damage done, but 3 defense diminished. Our Laser Bolt is out. Didn't take him out, unfortunately. 8 damage. Our Minotaur is going to do Brutal Strike, and there it is. Dealing 3 damage. That was not so brutal. Not as brutal as I expected, anyways. We'll have him attack the squire, and everybody's just going to auto-attack this time around because I don't want to waste a black bolt on him. There's another swing. His defense must be pretty high because it took us a while to get through it, but now he's down. And take a macy swing at that guy. Oh, we didn't give him a weapon. That's going to be the problem. Let's give our Minotaur a weapon after this round. He evaded that one, so no damage done. We're going to have him do Bull Rush, which is going to lower his energy a little bit. And everybody else is just going to auto-attack so that we save our energy. Ooh, he missed. Little disappointing there. Some damage dealt, but nothing that's going to be too worrisome. And the guard finally goes down. We found a basic magic rune, 6 wooden coins, and 12 gems, 287 XP. Looks like our sorcerer has leveled up and gained an ability, Focus. Let's have a look around this room. Let's ransack. We get 18 gems from that little bag on the table. 1 toy drum. Glass beads. A lesser healing potion, which will probably be useful down the line. And 34 gems. Very nice. So we've got a bit more equipment. Let's go to our menu here. And we've got to equip people. So let's go to our equipment menu. And our Minotaur. Do we have anything for him? We do. We have the Shameful Iron Axe. So let's put that in there. He can still use rags. Anything's going to help him out. Let's give him the Tough Rune to give him some more HP since he can't really equip very good armor. Can anybody else equip a rune? Oh, I went to the wrong person. Oh, we can. Well, let's give me +2 to magic since we're going to be doing nuke spells. And you can actually equip, you can use through these menus, or you can move through these menus using only your left hand, just with the wasp, and using space, which is really nice too. Makes things a little bit cleaner if you want to do it that way. We'll give him the other Tough Rune. I assume that these level up. It mentioned something about that. And then we'll truck on through this door to figure out what's going on. I'm going to try and sneak around this guy to see how it works. Oh no, he's got like a little barrier. We've got 2 kind of spindly alien-looking archers. I'm going to have my Minotaur use a... Oh, he's out of energy, so we'll just have him use a normal attack. The cultist, on the other hand, we'll have him auto-attack as well. And I think I'm going to use Black Bolt on the guy on the right, since I think he's probably going to get one-shotted. So the sorcerer just took a little bit of damage. 11 damage done right there, so yeah, he's almost out. A trick attack to our Minotaur has put him in a stunned state, which is a little bit weak. And with all that damage done, he still didn't go down. So these guys are a little bit more robust than any of the enemies that we've had to face before. Minotaur can only defend because he's stunned. Our sorcerer is going to continue using Black Bolt on the guy on the right. This guy who's been softened up, I think, is probably going to go after one strike from our cultist. Off and away with our purple laser of death, which managed to take him out. Very good, and I hope that our cultist can seal the deal here. And poof, down he goes. So we've survived another combat. We found a lot of stuff. A scrap of leather, a leather cape, which is +7 defense, a wind rune, and an iron dagger, and a ton of XP. Looks like our cultist has leveled up to 3. He's gotten a new skill called Smite, which causes extra divine damage. Let's take a moment and see what we can equip here. Doesn't count as an accessory. Oh, it is. Alright, well, I wonder if I can shift around my formation at all. Let's see, because it seems like they attack my sorcerer more than anybody else. Maybe through... Oh, we can have inactive members too. Cool. So it appears as though what we have in our main group is not what we'll be stuck with for the remainder of the game. So if you're not happy with my choices, it seems like when you, the Nerdcastle viewer, decide to play this game, you can actually fiddle through as much as you want as well. It doesn't look like I can shift people around, or maybe I can, I just don't know where to do it from. Let's go to our equipment then, and I'm going to give the sorcerer the cape since it seems like we don't want him to die. He's now at what, like 12 defense, which is pretty good. That means it's going to take him a while to get through his defense. Other things to be considerate of. Let's look at our Minotaur and figure out if there's anything else he can equip for now. He can't use anything there. The cultist, did we pick up a new mace? It appears as though we have not. So let's get our way on out of here and let's see how much further we can get into this before we break off our time. Through that door, it looks like we've got a little dormitory space, no enemies. Let's check this pod over here. We found amber. Cool. 1 gem, not very much compared to what we've been getting from other stuff. In the sack, you find a crumpled piece of paper that reads, "From now on, keep your stuff on your side of the room." You find 2 tobacco leaves, just in case we want to get our durian, we want to smoke a dart. 1 iron longsword, so I'll probably give that to the sorcerer. And an iron mace. Cool, we're getting upgrades here. We can't look at these beds. Nope. But we can jump into our menu. And we can re-equip ourselves. So the sorcerer, let's give him the iron longsword, which has better stats than the one we had previously. And then for the cultist, we'll give them that new mace, which is no longer dented. I don't think a dent in your mace is really going to affect its stature in the maze world. A dented mace seems to do just as much damage as a normal one in my books, but for the purpose of the game, the lower quality is not so good. Do we want to go to the next level? Yeah, let's check it out. We've cleared block 1, level 2. You can feel more power returning. Let's summon another thrall. Well, this time we don't have a thief character, so we'll go with him. The Goblin, a sneaky thief. Steal from your enemies while crippling them with a variety of bombs. The Goblin can cause some nasty status effects to the enemy party, as well as a small assortment of hard-hitting melee attacks. He's the only character who can attempt to pick locks outside of combat. Example skills: Smoke Bomb, blinds the enemy party, or Lucky Hit, a powerful attack that pierces defense but only hits 50% of the time. Can equip daggers, light armor, and 1 accessory. Would we like to summon him? Hell yeah, we want to summon him. Let's have a look around this level, and there's like numbers popping out of the ceiling making me weirdly nervous. This room here appears to be guarded. This one isn't though, so let's check its pot. You find 8 gems. That room appears to be maybe the same one as that. Yeah, I can see that same chest over there. We'll deal with that combat in just a minute. This room, what is that? A glowing ball of light hovers before you. Ah, so you're the new one. Just what are you up to? I think I'll follow you for a bit and find out. So I guess he's following us now? Inside the sack is a dead rat, and you decide to leave him in relative peace. Rather than pieces if we wanted to chop him up and eat him. We'll fight this combat. And it looks like it's a dwarf. Our goblin, let's look at his skills. He's got Cheap Shot, which steals an item and damages 1 chump. Or we can do Stealth, which increases his chances and generates energy. Let's steal an item. Why not? We can steal his dwarvish undies. They might be a little stinky, but they're still good as new. I'm gonna have him do Brutal Strike on the Dwarven Warrior. Our cultist, maybe consider having him just lash out. And then our sorcerer, will have him use a Black Bolt. Our Cheap Shot has failed. Brutal Strike. It's dealt 16 damage and minus 13 defense. That is a great attack. It looks like he's got a lot of defense, so maybe hitting him with magic's the best way to go. Alas, we haven't vaporized him. So maybe with you, just go with a normal strike then. Our goblin, we'll consider, let's leave him alone. We'll have him do a normal attack since he's kind of out of energy. Here, I think we're going to go with Black Bolt again, since it seems to be the only thing that's actually dealing damage to this dwarfy fellow. Our cultist will think about throwing out some heals, actually. People are starting to look a little rough. Oh no, they leveled up. Never mind. We'll have him do Smite then, since we need magical damage. Big swing there from our Minotaur. 0 damage, but 3 defense lost. 0 damage there, but 1 defense lost. Yeah, it looks like that's definitely the game to play, is that he's got a lot of defense. 6 damage and 2 defense, and he's been vanquished. He's been poofed into a big old ball of lighty goodness, where he can float off and go somewhere else instead of hectoring us. Gems and XP, our Minotaur has reached level 3 and gets Wild Swing, which is an AoE that hits everybody. Our Goblin has reached level 3, which gets Trick Attack, which stuns an enemy. That's the one that was used on us earlier. Alright then, well, let's check out the remainder of this room. A brass snuff box. A box which looks like it holds a journal. It's barely been used. Most of the writing is about the lack of discipline among the guards. Of course, a lot of the glads in here don't know what they're doing. Sons of farmers and gutter rats promise a life with purpose. They're just too young to understand what being here forever actually means. The final page looks like it's gotten wet. The ink is blurry and hard to read, but you can make out some of it. Was the only one who understood me, and now he's dead. Kenrick didn't deserve that. I'm sure that stinking goblin knows something. Next time the others aren't around, I'll make him talk. Let's look through this chest. A breastplate of 25 defense. Wow. 36 gems. Anything in the bed? This bed smells like dwarf. So I'm assuming it's mostly like alcohol and that man stench that you accumulate. Kind of like raw taco meat or whatever. Well, in the problem with doing a game like this is that I really want you to go out and support this developer, so I don't want to post too many spoilers or ruin the game for you, so we're going to break it off here. I'm going to always try and keep these episodes of the Weekly Indie Newcomer to 30 minutes. So, the Weekly Indie Newcomer is Paper Sorcerer. I hope you guys liked it. All the information is down below, the developer, where you can buy the game, pre-order, etc. I hope you like it. This is a game that is worthy of praise. I feel the sense of excitement every time I find something in this game. Like, every little piece of treasure feels great to me, even though it's just menu treasure. Like, it's not treasure you actually get to equip, it's menu treasure. That's okay. Menu treasure was good enough for me back in the 90s, it's good enough for me now. Definitely support this developer. I'll see you guys next time. I hope you liked what you saw, I hope you liked this series, and I'll see you guys in the next episode next Friday. Take care out there, everybody.